Did you have any questions for me or?
No, I mean, I'm still curious why. I mean, it seems that even the Karaite route, which I'm not a fan of Karaite Judaism, seems a little more sincere and more intellectually honest than supporting a movement like the Noahide movement when you don't believe in the oral or rabbinic system. It just doesn't make so much sense. I mean, it seems like you're trying to do a lot with a little, but you're in the long run, you're in some way crippling yourself.
I don't see it that way because like a lot of I understand where you're coming from. A lot of people who come out of Christianity who are in church every Sunday and then become Noahides have a huge thing missing from their life, right? Whereas
Mm.
a person like myself who was an atheist, who didn't go to church, who had no religious community around them whatsoever, who then comes into this movement actually has a lot of new things as opposed
Mm.
to things that they lost, right? So I mean, I can totally see where people want to convert, and I think it's a good thing when they do. I don't discourage anybody from converting. I just haven't really felt the need to.
Mm. I get it. I get it. I mean, it's definitely a step up. I mean, you have a standard now to aspire to, something that you feel is a bit more concrete than atheism. If you're a Christian and just have a bad taste in your mouth for Christianity, then, like you said, people aren't going to in some way return to Christianity once they're convinced otherwise. Then that's what, I mean, do the best you can with what you've either been given or what you accept as true. However, it seems that ethically we aspire to greater heights when we're given more steps. And that's what Judaism is, Torah Judaism. I believe there's more opportunities to do the right thing, especially if you're convinced that these laws came from a divine source. However, the Noahide laws are essentially, as a system, they're man-made. As a way of pleasing God, they're man-made. It seems that there is a bare minimum, and I think every human being is born with the basic sense of morality. That means if you're ethical, I believe personally that God is gonna, it's that God will take that into account and validate your religiosity. However, if you were a betting man, I think it would benefit you. I mean, if you believe the Bible is true, to enter the same relationship, into the same agreement that the Hebrews and the mixed multitude entered on Mount Sinai as a way of pleasing God. It just seems that that's the more secure route. That's it. Yeah.
Secure as in secure that you'll please him or
Correct. Because God says that he will either bless you or curse you on the basis of keeping or not keeping these commandments. So
Mhm.
that is what the agreement is. The covenant is in agreement to keep this law. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I again, it's not so much that I disagree with any particular thing you say on that. It's just that I do see it because of my experience, perhaps. In fact, I started to tell you this earlier and I got sidetracked, but there are a lot of things in my life which I consider myself to be a moral person as an atheist, but there are a lot of areas where the Noahide laws have kind of stepped up my game, where I look now um, for people who are in need of help and try to help them out. Um, where I have a hard time passing on somebody where in the past I could walk by somebody, and say, well, it's unfortunate, but there's not a lot I can do. Now, when I see somebody who needs help, I feel like, yeah, I got to kind of step up and help this
Mm-hmm.
person out. And so there are a lot of changes in my life that have come through becoming a Noahide. And to me, I think God is pleased with that.
Well, you're believing in God. I mean, that's the first step. That I
Mm.
mean, that's what you didn't have before, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
believing in a God that rewards and punishes. So that in itself pushes for individual moral training, right?
Mm.
You want to be validated by a good God via His standard, and you believe His standard begins with seven laws, right? And in some way for your life ends with seven laws. Uh, it's still a net gain from from atheism, but I just think that if someone was going to enter the medical field, they should first aspire to be a doctor. And if they feel like, it's not, like, I'm not cut out for that, then they could become a nurse. But they have to see it in fashion that it's a progression, an ethical progression. Regarding ethics, I mean, I put ceremony aside. Yes, I mean, the same God who said keep the Sabbath is the same God who said don't murder. The more important commandments are the positive ethical commandments instead of the ceremonial ones.